Welcome to Tea Time with Amara. I'm always very excited whenever I get to make it, to be with you, to see you. Yes, I'm very fascinated with this idea of failure and success, because, you know, we are on a journey to becoming, to getting to the better version of ourselves. And I think one of the major things, hello, haha, Uncle Bioden, how are you? I think one of the major thing that I know about life is understanding. If you get good understanding, it helps you to approach life better. And this whole talk about success and failure, like I said, I was on a live call with John Maxwell on Saturday with the GoPro accelerator training that I started with. Yes, thank you. With Eric Quarry since this year, January 3rd, for our 90-day run. And part of what the package that we had in store for us was having people like Richard Branson come to talk to us, and so many other people. Les Brown was also there, Lisa Nicole, and great people who help you to understand life. I think life is all about understanding. And for everything you want to do, you just have to understand. If you understand how things work, the principles of life and all that, it will help you. So I'm a student of life, and there's a lot of things I'm getting to understand, and that is what it's interesting. So Saturday night, hello, Dufa, Isaac, thanks for watching. Saturday night was in a live call with one of the speakers was John Maxwell. He was actually the last person, and he talked about success and failure. He was just trying to teach us how to view the times in life that you could actually see that you failed. And for me, that's really very personal, because the last business I did represented failure. And for me, it was quite an embarrassing time, because like, who wants to fail? Nobody wants to fail and be associated with some negativity and all that. So, and it has represented embarrassment for me and all that. And it took me time to try to gain my confidence back. It took me time to try to remember who I was, because maybe I went through a state of amnesia. Like, you could actually go through a period in your life where some certain negative experience could happen that could hit you in such a way that you lose it all. You will lose yourself, lose your self-confidence and everything. So with time, I had to just get back up again. Maybe not because I would have loved to. Perhaps if things was a bit kind of different, maybe I would just coil up in some corner somewhere and never try to get up again. But you just have to keep going for many reasons, okay? And then they say it's very important to be in action, be going, be moving. A lot of things happen when you are in motion, when you don't just say, you know what, I'm just going to pack one side, I'm just going to fold my hands and just wait to heal, okay? I think it's better to be in motion. I think it's better to just get yourself busy, get doing something. Healing will come. More understanding on why things happen the way they do will come. So, and I also shared with you yesterday, incidentally, when I went to church on Sunday, that was the same thing my pastor was talking about, success or failure. So I thought of coming here today. Yes, I talked about failure yesterday, and I thought about coming here today to share some more points that John Maxwell, in detail, the things that John Maxwell did with us. Okay. And I told you one of the things he talked about was return on failure, ROF. And he says, what would you attempt to do if you know that failure was possible? Can you even pause to think about that? Like they said, what they would say is, what would you do, or how would you do something if you know that you won't fail? But this is him turning it around and said, what would you attempt to do if you know that failure was possible, but that the return will be great? Now, what Maxwell was trying to let us see differently, like someone like me, who would look at some points in my past and say, hey, God, I messed up there, I failed, and, you feel some shame and all that. Why did that happen and all that? What he's saying is this: if you could take another look at it, there are some returns on that failure. There are some benefits on that failure. So he's saying, like, what would you attempt to do if you know, number one, you will fail, but then there is a huge return on that failure? And I think what actually makes a whole difference in life is how you look at things. It may be totally different from how the rest of the world looks at it, but if you are able to achieve or grow to the point where you look at things totally different from how, not only how every other person looks at it, but how you would normally look at it. And so you're paused and you're listening, like, hello, what will I do if I knew I was going to fail? I mean, you know you're going to fail in a venture, and you dared to go ahead on that venture, knowing that the return on the failure of that venture will thrust you to a greater height, to greatness. Because for every experience of failure, okay, there's something that you learned. For example, for a child who didn't know the difference between hot and cold, touches something hot, a hot kettle. Oh my God, what's the return on that failure? What has he learned for life? Never go near fire, never go near something hot. And so that's actually where a record is the host, John Maxwell, was trying to swing us to, so that we can look at life differently. And like I was saying yesterday, so that your joy will be full, because sometimes you might be experiencing some form of happiness, you're glad about this, blah, blah, blah. But then you remember something and it kind of clouds you. But if you take a better look at something, or a different look at something, then everything represents joy for you. Like everything represents joy for me. So I can say I am happy and grateful that I failed in my last business. I'm happy and grateful that I handled things the way I shouldn't have handled it, because now I have learned how not to do something. I think that's what they said, that Edison said, and he didn't fail all that number of times. He just learned how not to do something. So you see the phrase where they say, you never lose. I never lost. I either won or I learned. Interesting. So we are growing and we are getting towards the better version of ourselves. So sometimes you win, and then sometimes you learn, not fail. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So I'm trying to go through my notes and to share with you what I learned from John Maxwell on Saturday nights, just the Saturday nights. So he says to keep failure and success together. I said that yesterday too. Don't separate success and failure. Success and failure always go together. And I was just thinking to myself that if I call someone like maybe Kosovadika right now and I say, can you share your success story with us? He's going to start by recounting different experiences that may be termed as negative. My father died when I was in primary 3. That's the kind of thing he will say. I've heard him say. My father died when I was in primary 3. It was so bad. I would pick food from the ground to eat. One time I tried to pick food from the ground. I didn't know it was soap. Wow, those are not successes. Those are not successes, are they? No, they're not successes. And then the master he's serving, he didn't even settle him, gave him 200 naira. But that's what got him to where he is right now. So in telling the success story, you cannot but talk about failures that got you to where you are. Okay. So there are always stories of failure in every success story. That's what he says. And the good thing about keeping the failures close in your journey of success and not separating them is that humility. It helps to be humble, like he said. Humility and resilience is the result of keeping failure close to success. So it won't come and look like one superhuman who made it all, who did it all. No. And he was saying that he's 75 years old. Maxwell is 75, and he said people appreciate him worldwide right now. He's a legend worldwide. I think he said he has sold like 36 million copies of his books, and he's still going strong in the circle of leadership. He's known, And he said, you need to see me 30 years ago. You need to see me 20 years ago. I wasn't close to what I was right now. And when you talk, when you freely talk about your failures, when you freely talk about how you messed it up, what you actually do for people is that you give them hope. You let them know that, hey, it's not so bad for you. I was in your shoe before. I had even messed up more than you have done. And so it gives hope. It keeps you humble. It gives you resilience too. Yes, in what you're doing right now, you know that, yeah, it didn't work out before, and I'm here to ensure this works out. This happens. So say to also keep track of failure. Keep track of failure, and then success will become so amazing. So amazing when you keep it close to failure. Success becomes huge when you don't try to, like, block line off of what didn't go well. Try to forget it. Try to erase that memory. And I reminded you today, as Christians, all things work together for good. And each time I read a scripture that I cannot relate with, I just ask for grace for God to help me understand this scripture, because I don't understand. There's some certain things that happen in my life that I can't just get to understand how this is working for my good. But, and that is where I continue to be grateful for life, for the heart still beating, because one benefit of being alive is that you get to understand by and by, especially if you give yourself the permission to believe that life is actually working for you, and not to you, not against you, but to you. That every single thing that's happened, whether you term them good or bad, was for good. And what that will eventually get you to is to see why this could be the reason why that happened. What you can reap from what happened, your return on failure. So let me stop here now. I have a Zoom meeting by 7 p.m. and I'd like to invite you to my Zoom meeting too. If you don't mind, if you click the link on my bio, you will see Zoom meeting, and I'm sharing information on products we found that is really helping us key into preventive lifestyle. You could join us and be our guest. But I'll come back. I just shared one point that John Maxwell shared with us on Saturday, and going to church on Sunday. The pastor's title was The Success of Failure. So it's really, really helping me to look at life differently and take it easy on me, and forgive the past and love the past and embrace the past, because the greatness you pursue, you hope to get to, the sum total of what you have been through. So have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you sometime again. Thanks for being in my life. Thank you all, my friends. And